Okay, I'm going to start doing some Illustrator stuff. So just open Illustrator. Just going to create a new document. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't really make any difference in Illustrator. And on my Instagram, I posted some images of patterns and so on. So I just thought what I'll do is do a quick tutorial. Now, I'm no expert in Illustrator at all, so if anyone wants to correct anything or find a better way, please do let me know. So I've just created a polygon, and I'm literally just gonna, you can go up to the shape section here where it says shape, and you can change it to whatever number of sides you want. We'll do 6. Excellent, look quite nice. So if you press S, it goes into scale mode, and then you can just scale it accordingly if you want. Well, I want to go the other way actually. Yeah, that's what we want. Something like that. I'm viewing the keyboard to the move tool. I'm just going to make the fill nothing, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this, and I'm going to scale it down slightly. I'll do it enough so you can actually notice it. And what I'm going to do is just position that, just use the arrow keys to move that. I'm going to do it so this lines up to the centre, and then this theoretical line should line up about there. I'm holding spacebar and command or control on a PC to just zoom in and out. Same as Photoshop. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate this one across here, and I'm going to duplicate this one across here. Then what I'm going to do is do the same thing down here. So real quick, let's just grab those, hold Alt and just drag and let go, and that creates a duplicate. So this is the new properties panel. Multiple layers are here. Everything's on one layer at the minute. To those of you coming from Photoshop, layers don't work at all in the same way as Photoshop being vector-based. So these have got 4 objects. And to select something from when you haven't got anything selected, you click on a circle, and that's all under one layer. You can create multiple layers, blah blah blah, and you can drag that into a new layer by going underneath, and then yeah, it kind of, your stuff is there. And you can select by holding shift, you can click on and pick all that, whatever. But you don't necessarily, you could do all your artwork on one layer and not have to do it separate layers. It just depends on how you want to work basically. So I'm just going to scale these down dramatically just to get a better effect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this one and that one, and I'm going to centre align those using this tool. I want that one to drive that one, so let's pick that one and that one, centre align those, and just reposition the top one to line up the way I had it before. So this theoretical line is going to hit this corner here. That gives you this sort of scenario down here. I'm thinking on that theoretical line to carry on. So I'll just hit pin keyboard and I'm just going to draw a line. I'm going to press A on my keyboard to bring up this tool, direct selection tool. Pretty similar to Photoshop really. I'm just going to use that as a guide. I'm just going to, now that's the line vertically, I'm just going to hold shift and just move that down. Sorry, so I've moved it first and then held shift, and then I'm just going to drop that corner. So that. Okay, now I'm going to delete that curve, don't want that anymore. So, moment of truth. I'm going to go to, on that first shape, effect, distort, transform, transform. And then I'm going to do, say, 10 copies, preview, and move it horizontally. I'm just going to eyeball this until it starts to look right. You can actually use these bars up here. You could set the actual size of this object precisely to the pixel or millimeter or whatever, and then you'd know how many pixels you've got to move this to make it work. But clearly I haven't done that, so I'm just going to hold the arrow key up and just keep going all the way through that. And I'm going to say about there looks about right. 222. Okay, that's not far off. If you now all these, you can't select them. They're all an instance of that first shape. And then in the properties panel, there's a transform has appeared as an effect. Okay, so that transform, if you click on here, opens the appearance panel, which is this circle with these dots on it. And then I'm just going to click on there with this selected, and you can adjust this accordingly. That's 1 pixel too far. Okay. Same again for this effect. Distort, transform, transform. Let's try 222. 10 copies. I'm not that dense, actually. And that's moving slightly too much. Okay. If you do it more accurately with the shape of this being a whole number or something, it'd be easy to do, but I didn't do that because that would have been a logical thing to do. So what you can now do, if you do the same to this one, effect, transform, transform, 2, 2, 1, 10, preview. In theory, they should all line up. Was that 222 there? That was 221. Again, this one, effects, transform, 221. 9 copies of this one. Looking good. So now what I've got that row, that row, that row, and that row. I want to now blend between this one and this one. And I want to blend between that one and that one. And I'm going to save this before we do anything else. That'll be fine. I'll cancel. So just to show you, and I'll make a duplicate of these just so if anything goes wrong I've got the originals. I'm going to, because these are all an instance, I'm just going to select that one, then that one. Object, blend, make. Oh, it's done it as a, okay, cool. So once that's done that, you can see it's kind of just randomly scaled each row to match the, oh, for God's sake, what am I doing? So I pressed on a keyboard. Make. No, cancel. Didn't mean to do that. Object, blend, make. Right. So then, once you've done that, you can then go into the blend options, which is this tool here. So W on the keyboard. Double click that, and then you get this little option box. You can do smooth, colour, specified steps, or distance. I'm going to do steps. Preview. I'm just going to dial that down until you get something that looks kind of like what you want. We'll do that one. So 6 steps. Okay. And now if I do that one to that one, object, blend, make. And again, whilst that's selected, double click on the blend tool, specified steps, knock that down to 6, preview that. And that's what you end up with. And maybe you could play around with the number of steps to get a more interesting pattern maybe. Seven starts to break away quite nicely. Okay. And then if you're not happy with a certain aspect of this, say this one, you'll notice when you select the blend there's a path between them. You can select that. If you hit A on your keyboard, so then you'll get these 2 handles. So if you do Shift C, brings up your control point, and then you can tweak the lead in based on these handles. So in this case, if I pull this handle closer, it pulls the last shape closer to there, which in turn affects the lead in from this one, because it's still trying to maintain the same number that you specified. So you can kind of tweak the fall off of that pattern accordingly. So if you want like this row here to be in between those, it's just a case of tweaking the spline until you get something that you're happy with on one side, then going back again and just tweaking this again, and so on and so on and so on. And then that, so you kind of cheating the parametric thing. It's not actually parametric because it's not driven by an algorithm, but it gives you the graphic effect of a parametric thing. And then you can go back into the original shape. So if you press V on the keyboard and click on there once, you get the blend option. Double click and it takes you into the blend. So notice up here on the left it says layer 1 blend. That now you're inside the actual blend now. So you can actually select the original shape or the second shape as well as the actual path. So separately now you can change, if you didn't have separate colours in the first place, you can change the colour and even the stroke of these. And you can go back down to this one and you could probably make that really small, say 0.1 point, and change the colour to say, I don't know, magenta or something. And then you could do this, so that you can go back out of here, select the next row, double click, and take it back into there. And if I do the opposite, so magenta down to we can make that one blue. Maybe let's make the bottom one of that one bigger. Again, you're still just trying to cheat the effect of this parametric stuff. You can click on the stroke as well, and you can specify whether you want it to be inside the shape, which we'll do in this case. So by adding a larger stroke to the inside, you can actually fill that with a stroke rather than a just drop it down to 1. Okay, so it blends colour as well as shape, which is cool. You can even do the corners. Where's the corners? Press A on your keyboard to get direct selection, and then your corners appears. We can add some corners to all of this. So if we properly soft that off, let's make it 20, so it's quite a change, and it will gradually get tighter and tighter and tighter till you end up back at a nice sharp one. We can go back to this one again, double click again with the move tool, V, select, press A on the keyboard now, then select that. And again, you can start smoothing that one off. So you can do some fairly interesting stuff with some kind of workarounds. I just decided I don't like that being filled, it looks silly. So but yeah. So once you've done that, let's just wrap up now. So say if you're happy with that, you've got essentially 2 paths. So if I was to move those, the pattern moves with it. So it's all just instances, it's not a copy, they're all an instance of the original pattern. So you then go to Object, Expand Appearance, and then that should allow you to have separate paths, or within a group. So it's expanded the first pattern, but not the blend. So you have to then do the same thing again, expand. Okay. So now they're groups within a group, which is fine. Let's do the same for this one. Object, expand appearance, expand. And then what you can do is select all of those, and you can do path, outline, stroke, and then what that does, it creates a path on the inside and the outside of that shape. So now if I do copy, then I go over to Photoshop, I'll just open a Photoshop file. wait for that to boot up. Come on. Right, just create new. So if I just paste, I'm going to paste it in as a shape layer, so it remains as a vector. And then what I'll do, I'll just do a solid colour and I'll make it dark grey there, just so you can see that more clearly. So you've still got all that shape, but when you zoom in and you get you can see there's actually two paths for each shape. So rather than getting like a solid fill, I can change the colour of that. It doesn't maintain the same colours as Illustrator does, but that's because of the way Illustrator handles vectors compared to Photoshop. So what I could do, for example, I could duplicate one of them, and I could select one of those. So if I just go down the column, so if you're in Photoshop and you're adding these graphics then to your sketch or your render of your car or your product or whatever, this is like a backhanded workaround. I could have just selected the patterns separately in Illustrator and pasted them in separately, but I didn't think about doing that, so I'll show you the backhand way. So just delete every other one, holding shift, just marquee selecting the ones I want to get rid of. So I'll have it on two separate layers, one for each pattern. Won't be too much longer now. I kind of thought it wouldn't be enough to just show you how to do it in Illustrator. I need to show you how to do it. Take that into Photoshop. Okay, there we go. Look. So you've got two paths for everything. And then you can apply a gradient to kind of get back some of that effect. So let's just change that gradient a bit. Let's just make this darker as well, just so you can see that more. Maybe let's make that cyan or something. Like that. Then you can copy, paste, then reverse the other one, so it goes in the other direction. So you end up with something like that. Simples. I'll leave that at that. You can do whatever you want with that then. You could put it in a group, and because it's a vector, so it's all the negative space is still there. It's not solid fill. You can obviously then just draw underneath what it is you want to do. Whether this is, I don't know, whatever. You get the idea. And you could warp it, which won't let you do as a group. So then, maybe rather than losing the two layers and merging them, just convert that to a smart object, and then you can kind of warp the pattern and so on. And you could obviously warp it over the form that you're wrapping it around, or you could even create bulk maps and normal maps to do some 3D geometry or something like that quite easily. And it just opens up this little widget. You'll see it all change, but I'll cancel that because that's getting confused. So yeah, that's kind of how to kind of cheat with my renders, these parametric pattern stuff. Just have a good play with it and mess around with it really.